I mentioned that when I went to college, I was looking for Christians to debate. So I found it interesting to go and talk to them about the Bible, about God, and uh, and they did seem to have authenticity. I should say that this couple became very, very close friends, I've met people still are. Well, she's passed away now, but uh, they, Bert and Hillary Pratt, I've met people all over the world, literally, who they have led to Christ. So just an ordinary couple, but they met Jesus, and but they were one couple. There were others. There were some other people I met uh, through different places that when I was at some of my lowest points, just emotionally, what have you, some of the people who took the most interest in me would show care or kindness or interest in me as a person turned out to be Christians. Uh, and all this time, I was looking for Christians to debate and to argue with, and I felt if I ever won a discussion, or in my mind I won that debate, I felt some kind of self-validation, when I was kind of excited about it. But of course, if you're an atheist, but you go looking for Christians, if you want to remain an atheist, it's a really bad policy, because you know you keep meeting Christians, and they keep loving you and telling you the gospel and praying for you. And some of these people started to pray for me, and so I think that was a big part of it. And so they give you answers. I was never satisfied with the answers, but that's it doesn't. I just kept coming back for more because I wanted to debate and discuss, and I was trying to, if you like, convert them, and they were just as hard as they were trying to convert me. And but so that's what happened, and they would show me love and care and kindness, and that was quite moving at times, and I realized that some of these people were far more authentic than I had given them credit for, and they had a far more authentic life and love than I had previously been willing to allow on the part of the church. So I met. And then eventually, there was one summer, my family and we were down on a summer vacation, what Americans call it vacation, we call holiday, but it was down at the beach outside of Melbourne, and a local there was a ministry called Scripture Union, and they had set up a sort of an outreach thing for taken over a local hall, like a scout hall or a village hall, and they'd taken over this and set it up something like a nightclub, and they were inviting people to come and turn it into a kind of a coffee house and over the vacation period. So we were down there for a couple of weeks, and a friend of mine was staying with us as well as with my family, and so we got invited to go along, and we went along, and I was kind of debating with them, and I thought this was great fun. But again, it was the same thing. I thought they were the most totally uncool people I've ever met. They didn't put demands on me, just come along to our meals or come and just get involved. They didn't put any demands on me. They just tried to answer my questions, even when I was really quite rude to them. And so there was this was over of course, the southern summer, which is the northern winter. So it was over Christmas and into the new year. And I went to a thing there with, which was a New Year's Eve event. And they had a guy who, I suppose he was a singer, and he had his guitar and he sang. And then he sort of gave what would be his story. And we would now probably call his testimony. He gave his story about how he met Jesus. I found myself quite moved by all this, even though I didn't believe. And so it got to New Year's Eve, and I thought, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution. And I'd always said to myself, I'm not going to become a Christian. I don't want to be one. I don't want to be like those people. But I said, if I ever did, I'm going to be totally committed, because I knew in my mind, I knew so many wishy-washy, half-hearted Christians. They were enough to make you sick. And part of that's just my arrogance of looking down on them what they did. But that's what I said. If I ever go that way, I'm going to be completely committed. And so that New Year's Eve, I had never before made a New Year's resolution, and never since. But I made a New Year's resolution that night that because I realized that something was I was actually starting to seriously consider, Christianity. And so I made a New Year's resolution sometime this year, that following year, I would make a decision either totally for or totally against Jesus. And that was my New Year's resolution.